thing I would say,
Yes.
maybe maintaining a lifestyle that is not affordable. Yeah, such as
Okay.
large houses. Yeah, thank
Oh,
you.
yes. Thank you so much. Maintaining a lifestyle that is not actually affordable in this case. Now, I want to give you an example. Just a simple example. You earn 2 million shillings salary, okay? Uh, Driving a car, 2000 cc. Okay, let's say you spend some money. You spend money on fuel, yeah. But then I know all of us here are above 18 years, okay? And because we are above 18 years, we are entitled to having our female counterparts, okay? Probably having a girlfriend, which is not bad. I have one. Joel, I believe you also have one. The same applies to Rahim and Naboth, which is normal, okay? But now the challenge comes in here is if you have more than one, say you have about 5 of them, okay? Let me hope I'm speaking to men. You have about 5 of them, and each one of them is going to demand for hair. Each one of them is going to demand for you to take them out. They are going to demand for nails. They are going to demand for aspects to do with taking them out. They are going to demand for a lot of things, basically. Okay? So you're going to find that at the end of the day, if you do not act in the disciplined way in respect to treating your love relationship, that can actually cost you as an individual. Okay? I must say that when you get to a certain age, it is normal to have a female counterpart as a girlfriend. Okay? But at the end of the day, you need to be able to be careful and have a manageable person in this case. So, over and above, members, what I am trying to say is we need to live within our means. Now, living within our means comes from you being able to avoid what we call peer influence. Okay. Now, for example, when I say, okay, me and Jordan work in moves, but Jordan drives a car, for me, I don't drive. Let me also get a loan and buy a car. That is very dangerous. You need to live within your means because me and Jordan have different objectives in life. And each one of us, we might be working in the same institution, but each one of us has a different stage of development in life. Okay. So we need to avoid living beyond our means, and then we can do this by simply avoiding comparing ourselves to other people. Because that is their timing, let them live their timing. You will be able to live your timing as well. Then not saving for emergencies. As I've told you, and I've told you once again, saving for emergency is very important. Okay. Ignoring credit scores. When you avoid seeking professional advice, I am very happy. I have a group of young people who are of my age bracket, and they are here listening to what we call a professional advice. Okay? You're listening, and I believe you're going to take up something today. So, how can you be able to avoid these mistakes? Number one, you should be able to do what we call setting a budget for yourself. Okay? If you earn money, budget that money like never before. Say, okay, I get 1 million shillings a month. Okay, what are the first priorities of my life? Pay rent. Now, be within your means. If you get 1 million shillings, okay, say, okay, which kind of a house can I be able to live in so that it portrays my status of living, but it will not deprive me of my financial freedom? Okay. So you need to live, probably say, okay, a house, okay, normal house, a gate, probably a single room if I am not yet married, okay? Stay there as long as it is organized, it is clean, it is in a good environment, okay? Budget for that, budget for transportation, budget for feeding, budget for medication, budget for saving, budget for emergencies. Okay? Then you need to avoid what we call excessive borrowing. I've said borrowing is okay, but when it becomes excessive, it is again not healthy. Okay. Now you find some people, you have a loan with more cash, you've borrowed in about there are these online apps that you use for borrowing. you've borrowed in Mokash, you've borrowed in Kwasa Kwasa, you've borrowed in that's now for Airtel. Eh? You've borrowed money in Wewole. You've borrowed this other loan apps to do with the OK loan. You've borrowed in Mango Cash. So literally, you have borrowed everywhere. Now you work. You have your Chibina where you save from. Okay? You've borrowed money there. You have a loan there. Then you have your friends. You've borrowed from all your friends. Now that's what called excessive borrowing. Okay. So you should be able to borrow, but never borrow excessively where you are going to have challenges paying them back. Okay. Then it is always better to build what you call an emergency fund. And an emergency fund is built through what you call continuous saving. When you save money, you build what you call an emergency fund. Now, an emergency fund, this is money that you can be able to access at any time. Okay. In case you have any challenge, you can be able to access it and use it. Now, I want each and every day that we are going to live our lives today. If today you are no longer doing what you are doing now, how many months can you be able to survive before or without doing anything that you are living the life you are living when you are working? How many months? Ask yourself now. Okay? Assuming Joel is a primary teacher, or rather a secondary teacher, and he earns 600,000 shillings a month. Okay? He lives in a house of 200,000. He rides. He has a motorcycle that he rides to work. Okay. Assuming Joel no longer gets the 600,000 shillings per month, how much or how many months can Joel stay living the normal life he was living, but when he's not working? I want each one of you to ask yourself that question. Assuming you're no longer doing what you're doing now, how long can you stay living the life you're living currently, but without working? Now, I asked someone who is 50 years right now, and I asked him that question. I said, sir, how long can you live? He said, I can live for 5 years without doing anything, and I'll be eating the money that I have saved. Then I realized that we need to work extremely hard. Members, is this sinking in your head? Are we trying to pick a point?
Yes, please. Yes, please. We are on point.
There are people who can live for 5 years when they are no longer doing the work they are doing, and they live a normal life. Now ask yourself, how long can you live when you're no longer doing the work you're doing, but you can live the life you are living? If you can be able to say, I can live for 1 month, then you're not doing well. If you can live for 2 months, then you're not doing well, because it is not guaranteed you'll get another job after 2 years. Now, in finance, we say you should be able to have savings that can keep you for the next 6 months. So if you have savings that can take you for the next 6 months when you lose your current job or you lose what you're doing now, then you're financially stable and secure as such. And how do we reach there? We reach there by accumulating and saving and making sure we are financially disciplined. Solomon, if you're not giving a comment, I request you you mute your microphone. Solomon.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
All right. So now this brings us to how do we track and reduce expenses? Okay. Because you see that expenditure is what actually brings the problem. Okay. This is what brings the problem. So how can you be able to reduce? You need to analyze and adjust. Okay. You automate paying bills. Automating, I mean, you go to the bank and say, okay, can you please deduct this amount of money for water, deduct this amount of money for this. You need to track your expense. You need to set clear goals and budgets. You need to categorize your expenses into needs and wants. Okay. And you need to generally reduce your living expenses as a person. Now, in some cases, If you are somebody who stays home, you rent, then it is better to prepare food from home, cook at home, and reduce dining out. Okay? You need to actually shop, do what you call smart shopping, and avoid impulse purchases. Impulse purchases, I mean, you going somewhere and then you simply do what? You look at something, it is nice, you buy it. It was not originally in your plan. Okay? So these are some of the tricks that you can actually be able to use to reduce your expenses and track them properly as such. Now, for you to be able to survive, as I've told you, you need to be able to have at least funds available to take you for the next 6 months. So if you do not have it now, you know you're not secure enough. Okay? As an individual, you're not secure. So you should be able to have what you call an emergency fund, money that should be available to cater for unforeseen circumstances. And losing a job is also an example of an unforeseen circumstance. Sicknesses, accidents, you get probably issues to do with maybe a war that will lead to your displacement, where you need to leave leave what you have and go somewhere else. So let's try to explore emergency fund. What is its importance? So an emergency fund is going to protect you against what we call unexpected, because it's going to act as a buffer that will shield you, and you will be able to actually from that unexpected expense. Then I believe you all know that when you don't have money, you're very stressed, isn't it? Money or lack of money brings what we call stress. Okay, so when you have an emergency fund, okay, you're going to reduce what we call financial stress. When you have an emergency fund, you're going to avoid what we call excessive borrowing and getting high interest loans. Is there anyone who knows an example of a high interest loan? High interest loan. Who has ever borrowed from the loan apps? These loan apps like OK Loan, Fair Credit, things to do with Mango Cash. Who has ever borrowed from those apps? So when you have an emergency fund, it is better to go deep into your savings and use it other than going to borrow, okay, and having to make commitments to pay it back. Then you're going to build financial resilience, because at the end of the day, you're stable financially. You will not have any issues that will come. So as you can see, it is always advisable that for us young people, we should begin now to build what we call an emergency fund. And that is done through what we call a step-by-step. You start with the smallest amount that you have. Okay? You start with the smallest amount that you have as such. Okay. Now, I want us to look at the 50 by 30 by 20 rule, okay? Because I did mention that. So the 50 by 30 by 20 rule states that you allocate 50%. Now this will answer we will answer Joel's question. Okay? How can I be financially disciplined? Now, first of all, allocate 50% of your income towards necessary expenses. Okay. Now, 50% of your income, let's assume you earn 1 million shillings, allocate 500,000 shillings towards necessary expenses. And what are these necessary expenses? Rent, food, mortgages, and then bills. Okay? 50%, let it go there. Then 30% towards discretionary, okay, spending. What are some of the examples of discretionary spending? Holiday, going on holiday. Clothing. By clothing, I mean buying clothes that are You know, you can buy basic clothes. They go to a winner and get clothes of 5K. But if you want a suit of, let's say, 300 or 500,000, that now becomes something discretionary. Okay? It becomes a need, no longer a want. Then meals out, going outing. Okay, you go buy chicken, chips. Okay, outside, fish, etc. It should be within the 30%. So 30% of 1 million, that is about 300,000 shillings. Okay. Then entertainment. So a 1 million shilling salary earner should allocate 500,000 shillings to the necessary expenses, and then 300,000 shillings for the wants in this case, which are not necessary, which we call them discretionary, and then 20% towards savings and debt repayment. That's why we have 20 here. That's why we have 20 what? 20%. And this is the money that should be saved without any bargaining. Okay? So once you receive it, it should actually go fast. Okay? Now, I think it is at this point that I can be able to share with you what I do, members. Now, you see, I fix money. I have automatic deductions that come from that comes right away from the salary that comes and goes straight. Okay, it is cut for savings. But I said, okay, how can I build money that I will use in the next 2-3 years? Okay, we are men. Okay, I want to give you this stuff. I have a girlfriend. Okay, so what I did is I got a small phone, a nobody phone, and gave this phone to my girlfriend. I said, okay, you know what? Have this what? Have this phone. Then I got a line, registered it in my own names. I registered it on mobile money, definitely. And the line is with me. Rather, I know the PIN, but I decided to give her the phone and then the line to go with it to wherever she stays. Okay? So for me, on a monthly basis,
colleagues, are we on?
I think Julius is muted.
Maybe he has received a phone call or something like that. Yeah, it's not only one person facing this, it's all of us, so let's just be patient. We'll get back.
Okay, meanwhile, if you would like to be part of the presenters in the near future, kindly inbox me. I'm going to share my number in the messaging, in the messages. Please, you can inbox me anytime and give me the area of expertise or the area you're experienced in. Then you can pick it up from there. Thank you.
sorry, I got a call. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're very loud and clear. Let's go.
Okay, thank you. So where did I stop? Because I need to finish this.
Julius, you stopped at a point that you registered the line, gave to a girlfriend. She has a line. She doesn't have a PIN code.
Yes, she has the line, she doesn't have a PIN code, okay? But I have the PIN code, but I don't have the line with me, okay? So now we agreed and we said, okay, I am going to be putting 200,000 shillings every month. That is non-negotiable. And whenever the month ends, she calls me and says, can you send this money? Okay. So I send the 200,000 non-negotiable every month. But then when Rahim was introducing me to you, he said, I do consultancies. Okay. I go train people, I write proposals for people, I write business plans, etc., and get money. Okay. So we also agree that whenever I get such monies, I send a half of it. So if I write a business plan and I'm paid 500,000 shillings, I send a 250. Now that money is being saved and it is being there. Okay, I cannot access it because she cannot give me the line. Okay, and she cannot also access it because she doesn't know the PIN. Now that is the saving trick that I have used, and it is working, and it is really doing well for me as a person. Okay, so at the end of 2 years, I can be able to access that money and I plan and do something with it. Okay, now that is one tactic of saving that you can be able to have, like that you can be able to adopt that culture and save compulsorily without having to know that, okay, I'm going to touch that money, maybe I will spend it and do this and that. So this is the 50 by 30 by 20 rule. So allocate 50% of your income towards the necessary expenses, 30% towards discretionary expenses, and 20% towards savings and debt repayment. How are you motivated to save? Lastly, because people say, saving is very hard. How do I save? Whenever I get the money, I use it. I have already given you one tactic. Okay? But now that should mean that you trust your girlfriend so much that you can give it to your mom. Okay, you can give it to your father. If you have a brother, you can give it to your elder brother. Okay, do that tactic and give it to someone else whom you trust. If you trust your girlfriend, you can give it to your girlfriend. Of course, that should be somebody you plan to, stay with and you want to marry in the future. Okay. By the time you go to that level, that means you deeply engage with someone and you're sure you trust one another. Okay. Now, what are some of the tactics to stay motivated? Be specific about your saving goals, what you want. So you should know why you're saving. Why are you saving? Now, you should also set intentions and tell others. You say, I have intentions of doing this. And you tell others, okay? But then, that means you should tell people who are professional in that area. Because now, some people will say, well, if you tell your plans to people they work towards, frustrating you. But if you come to me and you say, Julius, I'm saving, I want to do this, I will advise you on the investment ideas for you to be able to invest and probably earn more, okay? Now, you should be able to set or create what we call short-term milestones. These milestones are some things that you want to achieve within the shortest period of time. And then, members, celebrate a win, okay? When you win and succeed, do what? Celebrate it. If you work hard and you succeed and get something, make sure you take yourself out, enjoy, okay? Do not be so mean. When you make money, when you make a breakthrough in life, make some bit of what? Of celebration to give you motivation, okay? Then you can create what you call a vision board, okay? You keep your separate funds. You create what you call a money saving chart. How are you saving? This is how I've been saving. This is how I've been tracking etc. Okay? Then you can create what you call a checklist. I believe each and every year you write what you call New Year resolutions, okay? So we are now into 7 months into the year. What were your New Year resolutions, and what are the ones that you have achieved so far? Go and get that checklist. Okay? If you had a plan to save 100,000 shillings per month, go and see if you have actually made that or you have achieved that goal. Okay? Then you should be able to keep or make room in your budget for fun. Okay? In your budget, have some bit of money set aside for purposes of fun. Okay? As I told you, you're not going to kill yourself. I want to be rich, I want to be financially stable, I want to be this and this, then you deprive yourself of fun. Okay? Personally, I'm a person who enjoys fun because I have band schedules all through. Okay, I know that every Wednesday there is a band session I go for. Every Thursday there is a band session I go for. Every Sunday there is a live band. I mean, okay. So since I'm a person who loves live music, that's where I spend money. And when I go there, I spend money. But that is the money I have put for purposes of entertainment. The 30%. When you look at the 50 by 30 by 20% rule. So you should make some budget or make some room in your budget to have fun, okay? Then you should automate your savings. Make your savings automatic. If you work for a company, you can decide to say, please, can you make an automatic deduction from my account of maybe, let's say, 100,000. If you maybe work for an institution like me, MOBS, you can decide to say now, like for me, they deduct a certain amount that goes into a savings on a monthly basis. So the salary that comes on my account is minus the money for saving. And this is built and it's built over time. By the time you clock your 30, by the time you clock 35, by the time you clock 50, etc., you already have an accumulated finance that you can be able to use to survive for your retirement. Okay, I want to end here and welcome questions where necessary. Thank you so much for listening to me.
Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Julius. Thank you so much. I personally, I have picked so much, but the main points were from common financial mistakes, living beyond your means, not seeking for emergencies, not saving for emergencies, not investing for the that I've forgotten it, but ignoring your credit score and so many more. So kindly, if you have any questions, if you have any questions, the consultant is around. He's ready to answer us. He's ready to interpret all your questions and worries. Please kindly unmute or raise your hand. And I'm seeing Kilama. You can unmute and talk to us.
Thank you so much, and good evening again. I wanted him to elaborate small thing about having the head of the family. Most of the youth currently, they are the one who is in charge of everything. They have you get one person in a family that has the money. Other people now are follower. They cannot support them, and there's nowhere they can start from. Now, what would be a mistake to such people, or what those people, when they get financial constraint, they don't fall into another point? And then another one I would also want him to highlight a little bit is how easy is it to have money to help the family members? Like, for example, let's say you are 5 people, 4 male brothers and maybe 1 sister. Is it easy that you can have a common understanding that you can fix some money, or you will always have the other person who will always say, me, I don't have money, my work is not okay, this is and what? How do you pull the family members so that you take the responsibility away from you? Thank you so much.
I think I should first pick the questions, then Julius will answer every question, I think, at once. If you have any other question, please, you can raise your hand and unmute. Asimu, you wanted to say something before Kilamaroy came in.
Yeah, I wanted, but I saw in the messages it was identified.
Okay. Another question, please, before Julius responds to Kilama's question. I want to recognize the presence of Isaac, Kilamaro also, Opwanya, lecturer at MOBS. Thank you for joining us. Mugisha, Kagwa, Ashaba, Precious, Sebunia, Jonathan, thank you for joining the call. Bidali, Alex. Yeah. So if there's no any other question, please, I would like to toss the mic to Julius to respond.
Yes, there is a question, Mr. Julius. Someone is asking, what are some smart investment strategies for beginners?
Mr. Rahim,
Yes, please.
okay. Can I go ahead?
Please go ahead.
Personally, I don't have a question, neither do I have a comment, but I want to personally thank Julius, our own, for this outstanding presentation on this very wonderful topic, personal finance. I must confess that this is my first time attending such a session, and I must openly confess still that I used to see you, Rahim, posting in groups about this. I thought it was just a casual thing. And I've not been attending, yet I've been seeing the links posted in time. I thought it was some casual discussion. But today I had some little time and I was like, no, let me attend. And I think I was one of those people who joined in first. So I'm very grateful. Julius, I must say that from your delivery of this content, I've really learned the critical importance of setting clear financial goals and also the necessity of creating a detailed budget to track our income and expenses. And also your advice on saving strategies has really caught my eye. And such advice like building an emergency fund and prioritizing savings goals has really given me a solid foundation for managing my finances. I can say more effectively. I've been trying, but this time I can say more effectively. And also your insights into various investing options have also broadened my understanding on how to grow wealth, and this is over time. You have also given us clear and practical examples on real life scenarios. And these have really, I can say, have helped all of us. I also appreciate your discussion on the importance of avoiding unnecessary debts and actual unnecessary debt, and understanding the impact of interest rates on loans and the other credits. So these tips really have given us will improve our credit scores, and I must say our time has not gone for nothing. Thank you, Julius, and thank you, colleagues.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, Mr. Julius, last one. Mr. Kagwa Shafik is asking, he's saying he came in late. Now his question is, when is someone allowed to spend that money for saving on other issues? Thank you. Can take it over. Yes, Solomon, your hand is up. Let's take one last question from Solomon, then we hand over the mic to the presenter.
Yeah, thank you. My question is, what do I do when I've realized I've been living beyond my means for years, and I've accumulated a significant amount of debt, but afraid to cut on my expenses because I'm worried about losing my social status? Yeah, that is my question. What do I do?
Okay, thank you. Can I come in and respond to them now?
I'm seeing another hand. Alex, can you please also?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Julius and Mr. Rahim and plus other colleagues. My question is only one. There is point where it's called stimulus spending or expense, where you just buy things when they are not even on your plan. So what could be the best approach in order to make sure you stick to your budget. If maybe, for example, going to Owino, you make a budget of maybe around 80, 70K, and I rather I have my 30K, which actually I didn't put in the budget, but I end up buying something that's which actually is what not on the list. What would be the best approach to come to that? Thank you very much.
Julia, I think you should come in and answer the questions.
All right, thank you so much. Let me start with that of Alex. That is called impulse buying, okay? Impulse buying comes from you not creating a budget, first of all. Yeah. You've heard people saying, they ask you, are you going to buy this? No, that's not in my budget. Okay? So, first of all, it comes with the discipline of you having a budget. Okay? Because if you have made a budget that, okay, I am going to Owino and I'm going to buy this, then the money you're going to go with will be only money that has been allocated to buying that. Okay? That's why even a country has a budget. Okay? So if a country, which is Uganda, which is the United States, very developed, we talk about Europe, very developed countries, they have budgets. Then the only way you can be disciplined and avoid impulse buying is through creating that budget and sticking to it, and simply following the 50 by 30 by 20 rule. So if you know that, okay, the 50% goes into the necessary expenses, then you spend that money. Okay? And ensure that you make it a culture to spend that money, so that you can be able to maintain that life within your budget. Otherwise, there will be a trickle-down effect that will finally affect a certain thing. All right, I hope that answers. Then the question is, when you are living beyond your means, okay, for years, and you've accumulated a lot of debt, but then you fear getting back to living, you don't want to live the status you are living. Okay? First of all, you've been living beyond your means for years. You have accumulated debt. Okay. First of all, is to begin repaying off that debt. And how do you begin repaying off that debt? You need to make what you call a debt repayment plan. Okay. You can agree and say, okay, this is the amount of money that I get. Let me do a restructure of my debt. So I'm going to restructure and say, okay, can I have this money paid within probably 2-3 years? Now, in these 2-3 years that I'm repaying this money, I am going to avoid the following. Okay, maybe I'm going to, if I used to go out maybe 3 times a week, I'll reduce and go maybe once. Okay. If I am, or if I was sleeping in an apartment, okay, of say, let's say about 1 million shillings, I could reduce by half and get 500,000. If I was probably driving myself to work about a full week, I could say, okay, let me limit and I go. Maybe let me drive 3 days a week and I walk and I get on a border 2 days a week. Now, when you do that, you are going to still kind of remain with that status you are living on, but at a minimal level. Okay. So that is when you are going to create some bit of space to have additional money to be able to cover up your debt and repay your debt, but while still maintaining your previous level of living, but at a reduced one. So you're not going to stop going out, but you're going to reduce the number of times you go out. You're not going to stop driving, but you're going to reduce the number of times you drive in a week. You're not going to stop sleeping in a good house, but you're going to reduce the amount of money you use for paying rent by simply getting into a house that is of a similar character, but relatively of a lower price. So you need to restructure your life and get into something that is minimal, okay, that is average, but then it doesn't actually bring you down. So the challenge will come is when you decide to sell off your car to pay the loan, then you're going to go off your status. Well, you might sell off the car and buy a smaller car, okay, that is maybe probably 1.5 or 1.2 cc. Okay? you still have a status of driving, but you're not driving a car of 2000 cc. Or now another problem will come if you get into a house of 1 million shillings and you go into that of 200, then that will be suicidal. That means you would have dropped. But if you get from 1 million, you go to 800, probably go to 700 or 500 etc. You're still doing well. You're still within your status as such. Okay. When can you be able to use your money for saving, to finally have investment, or spend it on other things? There must be a cause. First of all, the first thing is an emergency. You have an emergency, you're sick, there's, God forbid, there is death of a relative where you need to organize and contribute. There are contributions relating to treatment. You need to invest money, okay? Then you can be able to spend your savings, okay? You want to invest, you want to probably pick part of your savings and have some bit of fun. You recall we said put aside some money for fun. It's very important, okay? Then you can say, out of my 10 million savings, let me get 1 million shillings and, you know, take myself out and have fun. That is not bad, okay? So when there is need, then you need to use that saving. And as you're picking your savings, okay, remember the purpose of savings is for emergency and investment purposes, okay? So your savings should be used for emergency and investment purposes. So once you pick your money or your savings and use it for luxury, then that means you're going to have a problem. Then you're not using it for purposes of further development, which is intended to be as such. Smart investment strategies for startups, there are very many. We have Zeno. Have you heard of Zeno? Let me just say unit trust, basically, okay, where you can be able to invest as low as 20,000 shillings, 10,000 shillings, and you see your interest growing on a daily basis. You can invest 1 million shillings. You can open up a treasury bill account where you start with as low as 100,000 shillings, and that will yield you returns. Okay? You can be able to trade into currencies, whereby you deal into forex trading, where you trade currencies, but that is it involves a lot of volatility as such, which will require you to actually be a bit smart in its trading. You can buy shares. MTN, Airtel, they have been publicly offering their shares for sale to the public. So you need to invest where your interest basically lies. So now all these investments I've talked about, some of them are risk-free, others have risks that are attached to them. But when I talk about treasury bills and then the unit trust, those are basically risk-free, where you're sure of your return. And then your principal amount invested in the funds. So that is actually some of the small investment avenues that you can be able to have to start up with. And these are very, very easy. You can start it up tonight, or you can start up tomorrow morning, where you will be able to invest your money. Okay? And then you start earning, seeing your interest grow as well. Okay, now there is somebody who has asked a very, very sensitive question, and I wanted it to be last. The issue of family members not being cooperative. Okay? Now the question would be, if it's only you, the question is, number one, are the family members who are not cooperative working? If they are working, then probably there could be a helping hand from only your side, and you're proving it out to them that you are doing better than them. Okay? So first of all, for me, what I have learned with family issues is you should be able to contribute to family development within your means. Okay? Say, for example, they are saying, okay, can we contribute money for family development? So if others are contributing 10,000 shillings, then for you come and say, me, I'm contributing 50. Then definitely next time others will say, even if I don't contribute my 10,000 shillings, then Joel is going to contribute the 50,000 shillings, which will cover mine. Okay. If there is a need to raise money for a sick person for treatment, for example, they're saying the money is worth 500,000 shillings, and you are 5 of you. Then they are saying each one of us should contribute 100,000 shillings. Then for you contribute 200. Then you are giving a leeway to other members not to contribute because you've contributed on their side. So each and every person who is a working member of the family should be able to be accountable, contribute to the family members' affairs. And how do you do that? By equally distributing responsibility. Okay. Now you remind me, for us in our family, we distribute a responsibility. For me, I decided and said, anything to do with upkeep for my siblings, I'll send money on a timely basis. And that's my role. We have a sibling who is responsible for, sending money for medication. Another is responsible for sending money for feeding. Okay. So we have distributed responsibilities equally to ourselves. So the first thing is equal distribution of responsibilities, because at the end of the day, you as someone who is growing, you need to develop as a person. You need to grow and develop as an individual. So if you don't do that, then others are going to overwhelm you. But above all, we should be able to help our families when they call upon us, because they need us and we need them at some point in time. I think I've answered and responded to all the questions. Thank you so much. Let me end here.
Thank you so much, Mr. Julius, once again. Really, you have made this night a remarkable night, and I'm very, 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 very humbled. I was expecting a profound presentation, but this is mind blowing. Really, I had never experienced you speak such, wisdom, the vocabulary, the grammar, the English, you mentioned a word, photolistic. I don't know, really, your way of articulating the word, your words, finances. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I want to welcome Mr. Robert to give us a vote of thanks to the presenter. Mr. Oponya, Robert, I know you're there. And yes, someone is asking for your contact. Yes, I'm going to share the contact with you in your inbox on WhatsApp, kindly. Mr. Robert Oponya, please, I am requesting you to unmute and give a vote of thanks to Mr. Julius. It will be so mean of me not to welcome my good friend, Oponya Robert, a lecturer at MOOBS, very experienced, very intelligent. Please, Oponya Robert, kindly unmute and say a vote of thanks, and we close the session. Other than that, please, if you have any questions about the men's forum, if you have a presenter that you think we might need, if you would also want to present a given topic, or any experience that you want to share with us, kindly inbox me. My number is on the messages, and yeah, I will also include you on part of the presenters. Mr. Robert. Mr. Robert. Okay. I will request Mr. Oh, let me see, Mr. Jimmy. Yes. Jimmy, can kindly give our presenter a vote of thanks, and we close the session. Thank you.
All right. Oh, this is Jimmy Isaac. Yeah, I really first thank Uncle Rehan for at least trying to bring all the people that can at least give us the knowledge that we need to move on as the youth, and also as the people in the world that are growing up, because we are the future. That is it. Thank you so much. And also thank the presenter for giving us that knowledge of knowing how to save. The one that actually gave me the light was the one of the girlfriend. It actually gave me the light that it's some magical way of saving that's very good. That I can at least after some time you can get something. But thank you so much. Next time that we can have another session about that. about the investment, as you have said, something like that. So it will be something so great. But the knowledge you have gotten today, it can be applied physically and practically because it's there. And no matter the money that you earn, no matter the little that you have, you can start from saving like that because it doesn't matter how much you earn. It doesn't matter how much you have, but saving depends on your heart and how you're doing things. So we thank you so much. Thank you. God bless you. Have a good night.
Lastly,
Okay.
before we leave, Rebecca, you have a platform that I would like you to talk about it briefly. Rebecca, can you still hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, you have a platform that I would like members to actually have knowledge of it.
Okay. Can is it Rahim? Can you mute yourself, please? Because it's interfering with the voicing. Okay, thank you. So yeah, I have a platform and that is Global One Voice Empowerment Network. So basically this platform, I always invite in different guests, just like this men's forum, whereby I interview different people and the purpose is just learning from each other. Learning from one another is always very important. We always go to school, learn at school, but when we really calm down and learn from one another, we get how Julius has just explain how he saves, and you really getting more insights on what you can do because you've really learned from someone else. And it's just basically a platform just like this one whereby different people comes in and share in their personal experiences. And I'm happy to say that I'm kind of live streaming this one, though I started in very late because of technical issues, but I hope the next discussion that you guys may have, I'll be able to live stream it so we can always reach a broader audience. And I want to urge all of you, you all have friends, you all have family members